Welcome to the English with Kirsty podcast from www.englishwithkirsty.com. Here I'll be sharing with you tips, information and other learning resources so that you can improve your business English. Hi everyone, and welcome to episode 35 of the English with Kirsty podcast. Today I'm going to talk about a guest article that I had on my blog this week. So the guest article is in German, and anyone who understands German can have a look on the show notes page, and I'll post a link to the article there so you can see it in its original. The guest article was from Christine Konstantinidis, and she also has a blog which is mainly in German, but there are also articles in English there as well. So it's worth checking that out. And she's also written a book. So if you speak German and want to find out about tips for language learning, then go and check out her book as well. So I'll put all that information on the show notes page, which this week is www.englishwithkirsty.com/podcast/episode 35. And while you're there, also remember that there's the Facebook group, and that's for learners of English too. So my Facebook group, if you want to join that, then I will also put the link to join that on the show notes page. So the article for this week, Christina was talking about language learning, and it's something that I do all the time. I teach people, but sometimes we don't stop to think, what are the advantages of actually attending a language course or working with a language trainer? How is that helpful? Because a lot of people just work on their own and they make good progress, particularly people who are intermediate to advanced learners. They can make progress that way. But this article, and I'm going to talk today, in the article it talks about the advantages of working with a specific trainer. So why is it a good thing? So, the first thing, you can talk about your aims and your goals together. What do you want to achieve? And you may be a really organized person able to do this on your own, but if you're able to do this with the teacher, you can really think about, why do you need the language? What kind of language do you need? What do you need to learn? So it's often easier if you can do that together with somebody, and particularly somebody who has experience in that area. Number 2, your teacher organises your learning for you, so you don't have to think, what shall I do today? What shall I focus on? You may choose to go through a book, but if you're working with a teacher, they can put together a program that isn't all focused on the same type of activity. You can do speaking one day, some reading, exercises for homework, whatever it is, but your teacher will put together a plan for you and show you how you can learn using a range of different activities. Number 3, you learn what you need. So there may be, if you're working through something on your own, there may be things that you already know, so you don't really need to do that. Or in a course, a really big course, it may be that other people in the course don't know something, but you've already covered that, you're past that. So if you're having tuition or working with somebody on your own course, then you only learn the things that you need. And if you're never going to need to talk about a specific area and that comes up in the book, well, it doesn't matter, because you don't have to do that. You just do things that are relevant for you. Number 4, you get the materials that are right for you. So rather than having to go out and look for them yourself, I've done that sometimes when I've been learning on my own, and it's hard because sometimes I've found things that when I started to use them I realized were way too difficult for me. If you have a teacher doing that for you, then they will find materials that are useful, that will stretch you, but are also at your level, so it's not way too hard and you don't feel discouraged at the end of it. Number 5, you improve your job opportunities, so you become more employable. If you can say that you have language skills on your CV, then that's definitely going to help you. If you want to work in an area where you're working with people from different parts of the world, and often employers like to see that as well. In many jobs, English is a requirement now, so if you're learning English, then that's going to help you with your future career prospects. Number 6, you just don't have to motivate yourself all the time, because sometimes however passionate you are about language learning, you just have these days where you really can't be bothered. And that's normal. We all have those days. But if you're working with a teacher, then they can help you. They can encourage you if you're having a particularly bad day, or they can show you. Sometimes it's hard to see the progress that you've made as well, whereas somebody else can say, hey, look, this time last year you couldn't do this, or you couldn't have a conversation of this length with me, or you couldn't explain what you thought about this. So other people can often see our progress and more clearly than we do, and sometimes it's nice to have somebody point that out. And if you're working in a group with other people as well, you can see they're making progress and encourage them, and they can do the same for you. Number 7, you won't be so easily distracted. So if you're just saying, yeah, I'm going to do an hour of English today on my own, and then something happens and you go and answer the telephone, or something, you see something on the computer and you think, oh, that's interesting, and get sidetracked. We all do it, but if you've got some time scheduled in that is just going to be English learning, and you're learning either in a course or with a teacher, then it's easier to keep that time blocked out. Because at the beginning of the article, Christina was saying how we often have these really good intentions where we buy a big course book, or we buy a program and think, yeah, I'll do that later, I'll do that tomorrow, yeah, by the end of the week I'll have done that, and we don't make any progress because there is no accountability when you're on your own. And sometimes it's just nice to have that appointment in your calendar, in your diary, so you know, I have to be at my English course, and then if there's homework for that, you know that you have to find some time to do it, otherwise you're going to turn up and be the only one who hasn't done their homework, or you won't be able to move on to something else because you haven't done it. And it makes you a bit more accountable if you have something more structured. Number 8, you can ask questions, and I think this is really important, because if you are learning on your own and you think, oh, that doesn't make sense, or I don't really understand why it has to be this way and not that way, or can I use this word instead of that word? You know, sometimes the course will say something's wrong, whereas you may think it's okay, and it may well be okay, because especially some of the electronic courses, they say something's wrong because they've been programmed that way, but sometimes there are more than one there's more than one way to answer a question or to say something. So if you've got questions, then it's good to be able to speak with a teacher as well, somebody who can answer those questions. That doesn't mean that you can't find the answers yourself, but you might spend a lot of time wading through information on the internet where you could just ask somebody and then they could tell you and you could move on. You can use what you've learned straight away. So you can, when you're learning new vocabulary, for example, or talking about a specific topic, you can speak about that with your teacher. It's good not to just speak about it with your teacher. You should find other people to talk to as well, but you don't have to wait for an opportunity to use the things that you've just learned, because you can use them straight away. And number 10, you've got a good teacher, so somebody who can help you, who can encourage you, who can give you the tools that you need and help you to become more fluent. So that's not saying that you have to have a teacher. If you're happy learning on your own, that's fine. If you want to come into the group to be with other learners, that's fine too. And of course, if you're interested in training, then I can tell you more about the courses that I have on offer, and you can find them on my website too. But this isn't. This is really just saying, let's think about the advantages, because sometimes we don't really think about how much you can get out of training with somebody who has been trained to train. So if you are a German speaker, then do have a look at Christina's blog and her article. It'll all be linked on the show notes page, which again is www.englishwithkirsty.com/podcast/episode 35. And whether or not you're a German speaker, consider coming into the Facebook group. That would be great. And that will be linked on there too. And also, if you have any friends that you think would enjoy this podcast, then why not tell them about it and see if they'd like to subscribe as well. Okay, have a good week, have fun learning English, and I'll be back again next week. I hope you enjoyed this episode of the English with Kirsty podcast. If you have any questions or comments, my email address is kirsty@englishwithkirsty.com, or you can go to www.englishwithkirsty.com/podcast, where you'll find information about the individual episodes.